Hey guys, it's layout overview time as promised in a couple past videos there. We're going to do a quick layout overview over here. We get a lot of new people, new subscribers, and they all have the same questions. So every once in a while, I try to do a layout overview where I try to answer all those same sort of questions and stuff like that. And that way, you know, everybody's up to speed here. So let's just start out over here really quick with the big picture. As you can see, I am in my garage. The layout is in Southern California. That's where I live. And we have like a 3-car garage here. And this thing kind of takes up, well, just a little bit over half of it right here. As far as size-wise, it's 16 by 16 feet. So 16 feet from there to the corner right here. And then 16 feet pretty much square right down there. Let's take a bigger picture right here. You can see it's sort of shaped like, well, like a G or something. I don't know. What happened was when I first started, it used to just be this little section of the layout. So this little sort of loop right around here. And then I kind of divided it up right over here and made the yard on one side and Huntington Beach there on the other side. Let's go ahead and take a look at a map here. So let's zoom out here. Now I usually have a little map on my swing up bridge, but it's pretty crusty. We'll take a look at it here in a second. But you can see here, it's Southern California is where I'm based here, and I modeled the modern day per se, and so we've got graffiti and all that kind of stuff. But it's a Union Pacific line. And if I take a little skewer right here, let me see if I can find ourselves here. All the way up here. Okay, here we go. So what we're modeling here is Los Nidos Yard right over there. That's our yard. And then what we do is we kind of follow it down here. We go through Cerritos and La Mirada, this little red line down here. Come down to Anaheim. We take a turn right over here, and we head down to Stanton Industrial Lead, which takes us through Westminster and all the way down into Huntington Beach over here. The last industry is at Huntington Beach Lumber Yard here. So let me kind of show you a little bit of a map here. Now this map is, or at least a schematic layout of the schematic here. So here's Los Nidos Yard. We kind of head around this way. Here's my little lift up bridge. We come down here to Cerritos and La Mirada. You got a couple different industries throughout there, around to Anaheim over here, and then we turn down here. That's kind of the same as that little turn down into through Anaheim. Here is what I'm calling the green part. And then we head down into Westminster and then finally into Huntington Beach. Now, one of the other little lines, if we kind of scoot back out over here, is you can see here's Anaheim. Focus there. Here's Anaheim, and we make our turn, Westminster and Huntington Beach down here that's just not labeled. But one of the other lines continues across over here to Orange, and this is the Tustin Industrial Lead over here. And we do some switching. It's not quite depicted right here because it's a lot of little industrial leads and stuff like that. But what happens is we cross the Santa Ana River right there. Yeah, sorry, I'm jerking the camera around. But we cross the Santa Ana River right here. And then we back up, and there's a couple little industries that are taken care of right over there. And that is my new section. Instead of breaking off down here and going down to Huntington Beach, we kind of come back around here. And I know we kind of come back through, past the yard here, but into Orange. And we were doing that, all those new industries down here in the newer section of the layout. So that's kind of the bigger picture there. Let's talk about the philosophy here just a little bit before we start looking at everything else. So some of the older guys will know. So I'm a big fan of Lance Minheim there, and I know he watches the channel, so shout out to him. By the way, you can check the link in the description of this video for this book here, but fantastic little book that he put out, How to Operate a Modern Era Switching Layout. And actually it goes for not even modern days, but if you don't have a modern day, it still applies. Lots of good concepts in there for how to kind of slow down the pace of your switching and everything, and take advantage of car spots and all the little things that happen. So for instance, when we run out of here, we run out of our yard, and let me go ahead and lift up my bridge right here. we run down to an industry, and the first thing we do is we got to kind of stop there and think about what we're going to do. And you know, the conductor has to get off the train. He has to come down over to, say, the turnout there, and he has to unlock it, right? And that's what happens in the real world. The conductor has a set of keys there for the line. He comes over to the switch, he unlocks the lock, and then he throws the switch, and you know, so forth. And then we can just go back into the industry, do our switching back and forth, things like that. So a lot of those concepts come from Lance's book there. I highly recommend it. And so that's sort of what I based my industry on, is many little industries all over the place, lots of different car spots. And if you've been a viewer for even just a short amount of time, you can see that, you know, just switching out like two cars can get quite enjoyable in complicated sort of fashion over there, right? All right, so let's just kind of follow this along. We came out of the yard. This is the La Mirada and Cerritos area down here. And a lot of times I kind of talk about this on my other video here. So 2 foot square right here, or 2 foot, you know, from the backboard over there to the aisle here, plus a little jog there for the runaround. But basically all of my layout is 2 foot from the backboard over to the fascia. I think they said that right. Anyway, over here, industries over here on the backboard are sort of geographically separated from the main industries over here in the foreground, like Titan Transfer, which is kind of a fictitious facility. It's not really on this line. Actually, well, it's a real industry, but it's not on this line. It's farther up kind of towards LA and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, so these industries here that sort of take up all of the space here are geographically separated from the industries. Let me get a little poker here so you don't have to look at my finger. But these industries back here, even though they share a, you know, track right there, this industry over here that gets serviced down here is kind of like several miles away from, well, that industry over there. And so now I don't do this in my entire layout, but at least in this section, I've got the little cutover right over here, and this little section that cuts through here from, you know, the background to the foreground signifies like several miles. And so I operate that way too, you know, keeping that in mind. So, you know, for instance, you know, shoving cars back up here and then right back into the yard, you know, that really doesn't happen too much, even though I just did it in my last video. But generally we kind of play the game there. We make believe, right? That's what model railroading kind of is, right? We're having fun and sort of simulating what would happen in the real world kind of thing. And so a lot of times this little stretch right here, several miles in the real world. And so we don't generally switch a lot of cars from there, you know, in the background and these guys over here. Although sometimes they do, which is kind of the fun of the whole model railroading thing. And also having all of these different, you know, car spots in the background, in the foreground, and everywhere else. There's almost an infinite amount of space, or combinations, I should say, of switching that we can do. Just, you know, taking 2 cars out, and depending on the industries there, it may take an hour for me to switch out 2 cars. And if you watch the channel for any length of time, you've probably seen a couple of those videos. Anyway, we follow this along. Now we turn around over here to Anaheim, and, you know, we've got our little Sanford & Son junkyard there, salvage yard. Again, another fictitious industry. So again, even though we're modeling a real world line here, and a lot of the industries are real world industries, there's a few that are a little bit fictitious. So proto freelance is, you know, the way I'm going over here, you know, based on the prototype, a lot of prototype stuff, but we give ourselves quite a bit of artistic license and have a little bit of fun over here. And then this little section I always like to point out, we've got this nice little riding club with the horses and the manicured, you know, lawn right here, and it's the Anaheim Hills Saddle Club. And then right across the street, we've got the graffiti covered tarps on the fencing of a scrapyard over here. And that kind of, it's sort of, that's the way Southern California is. You'll see things like that in the real world. And so I'm trying to capture sort of the flavor of the area, you know. A lot of people that, you know, know the area or live here, stuff, they're like, Yeah, you know what? That really does look like Southern California. It looks exactly like where I know, you know, what it looks like, and that's it. You know, and so there are areas like that where you have this sort of contrast right here with like the scrapyard, you know, being all dingy and everything, and then the lovely little manicured riding horses and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. Dude, he fell over. All right. Oh boy, we must have had an earthquake over here. Anyway, we'll fix him later. Anyway, we come around over here now. This little section right here, back when I first started, was going to be the Anaheim yard. There's a little tiny yard right there in Anaheim that the Union Pacific has, and it's actually got a Y in it. But I never got around. I didn't have enough space here, and so I kind of just sort of forego that. But generally, this is where that would have been. And occasionally in the past, what I've done is I've actually stayed an engine over here. It kind of made believe like the yard was over here. It's a very small yard with really where they stage like the Anaheim hauler usually. And it'll take cars, you know, from here to wherever, West Colton, Los Nidos, wherever the heck it goes. But again, kind of having some fun. We make believe like we do that sometimes, but generally we just kind of make the turn here and then head down into Westminster over here. And again, these two industries over here, which is Southern California Edison. There are a big, huge facility and industry right there on the line in Westminster, and they make transformers, right? And then the next facility all the way down the line, the very tail end in Huntington Beach, is Reliable Lumber. I think I got that right. Yes, Reliable Lumber is the final spot, and that's what this little industry is here. Now you might be saying, wow, there's not a lot to all this stuff. Well, that's it. So again, I wanted to have it very simple, right? And so I'm using just some certain little elements to represent the industry, like what I always say. Let me grab another pointer here. Is that this giant section of this industry, which is SoCal Edison, that's only like 1/10 of the industry. The rest of it is out here in the imagination. It's off of the layout here, and we're only looking at one little section over here. And then I use a couple little elements like you know, my big transformer here, because well, that's what this place does, and they get coiled steel and you know, different things like that. And then even there, my little jack here, I think that's what it's called there. When you look at Google Street Maps or Google Maps and look at Google Street View and everything, the facility actually has a sort of a jack sort of crane thing like that. And so I have that right there. And I think it was painted blue, which is why I painted it blue, or at least it's blue on the satellite images. Now this industry right here is one of the more complicated ones also. And it does follow the same sort of what's happening in the real world. It's a switchback here. So if I kind of zoom out here, you can see we come in here, come down this way, and then switch back over here. Now, the real world industry obviously isn't exactly like this, but it is a switchback. And they've got, you know, kind of like 4 tracks or something like that in there. I've managed to kind of fit in 2 tracks over here with the switchback, and we do all our fun. So we have a lot of fun over here. But again, same thing like I said with SoCal Edison over here. A lot of the industry is off the layout. We're only looking at one little spot over here, and that's the same thing with the lumber facility over here. We've got the one track that comes into it, gets unloaded on either side right here, and then just have a bunch of stuff, just some stuff over here. It's a big empty spot with a bunch of, you know, stirrers and a piece of wood. That's it. But that represents the lumber facility, and it's just sort of me just trying to do stuff kind of on the cheap, or not have a lot of work to do, you know what I mean, building stuff like that, and just kind of taking my time. All right, so if we come back up here, and we'll just go over to the new section there. So if instead of heading down here towards Huntington Beach, we kind of cut through our little cubby hole right there, which I have this lovely little mountain right there, just to or a little hill there to kind of disguise it a little bit. Here's the new section right over here. This is orange, and come up over here. It comes out over there, comes across the Santa Ana River, and then out into our facilities over here. And again, same sort of philosophy here. I've got 2 sort of larger facilities, Westpac and FXI. down here, and then smaller little facilities in the background over there that are just flats. Now, while I remember this, people always ask about the mountains and the backgrounds here. So this is a picture off of my backyard. So if I go in my backyard, I overlook a valley, and I took the picture over here. It's kind of stitched them together, and I have a video. If you look at my playlist down there, I have a video on how I did that and everything. But basically, I took pictures off of my backyard, and I printed these guys out as vinyl banners at Walgreens. You know, you can go to Walgreens site online, upload your pictures, modify them, do all this kind of stuff. Again, I already did a video on all this, but that's what that is. And this section here, all the way from the corner there, all the way back here, is the vinyl banner that came out with my mountains. The mountains over here are paper, and in the other spots, because I used to be printing them out on my own little inkjet printer and everything like that. And they're due to be replaced, but you can see they're pretty crusty. It's just a piece of paper all put together right there. This one here was one of the original ones that I took on a, well, sort of hazy day. And so the mountains look that way. And I kind of like the way the mountains look different in different sections. So I gotta wait for another hazy day to take pictures to upload and make new vinyl sort of mountains throughout the area right there. All right, let's get some more little details done over here as the neighbor's dog barks and barks. So I use FlexTrack Code 100. It's Atlas FlexTrack throughout the entire layout. As far as turnouts over here, I use Pico. Pico Small Electrofrog turnouts. Right, is that it? Yeah, Electrofrog turnouts. And I use small because of the space constraints, kind of. I didn't want to use larger ones. All of them are small. I think I've got one medium-sized turnout because it just wasn't available when I was buying turnouts. But for the most part, all of the turnouts are the Pico small ones, which I always like because they just have they have a little spring loaded right there. You can snap them back and forth. And like when I was talking about the locks and stuff like that on this real line, all of the turnouts, as far as I can tell, they're all manually controlled like that. There may be a few kind of major ones that, because there's a little section there where they share the line over in Anaheim, I think, with like the metro, the sort of commuter, whatever, train over there, may be, controlled separately, but for the most part, all of the turnouts in the real world are controlled manually like that, and that's why I kind of like that. Let's see, what else can we talk about? I wish I had made a list over here, but I'm trying to kind of hit everybody's questions here. As far as the height of the layout, since it's in my garage, and garage is kind of sloped down, it's about 44 inches over in that end towards the sort of head end of the garage, and about 45 and a half or something like that, I think, down here towards the end, which makes for a good sort of height when we're sitting here, looking, at least standing on it, or a lot of times I will sit on a bench. I've mentioned that before. I have a little stool with the wheels on it, and so when I sit on it, this is kind of the height that I operate on when I'm not doing videos, and this is the way I see things right here. Now, let's see, so that covers that. As far as the buildings and stuff in the background, these things are all little pictures of street view. Let me come over here where the lighting is a little bit better there. My LED lights over there kind of wash out the picture sometimes. So what I did was I went on Google Street View, picked out, let me get this out, found a nice little office building, or not office, little apartment building kind of thing. And this one just happens to be in that same sort of general location in where we're actually modeling in Southern California. I took a screen capture of it and then printed it out on my regular old printer right there, snipped it out nice like that. And then just put it on a little bit of foam board right there. And there you go, instant background building. Now, same thing with some of this green stuff. You can see a palm tree hanging down right there. Same thing. It's different spots that I found, and you can see this is like a mirror image right here because it's spliced right over there. So right there's the splice, and it continues on. But anyway, my point being that I should show you that. And there you go, instant little background building right there. and it also helps to cover up that little section there where the trees get sort of mirrored right there, so you don't really see that. And again, same thing with those. There's some of them. This one here, yeah, same building sort of thing, but a different street view right there. Try to kind of change it up a little bit. If I come over here, this little section right here is again just printed out, and it's just a street view right there. And you can see it's on Beach Boulevard, if you can just make that out. So Beach Boulevard's a big boulevard down there in Anaheim, which this is supposed to be signifying. And so paste it on there, get a good view, do a little Photoshop sort of, you know, taking things out if I need to, you know, if there's something weird, or sometimes when you're doing the street views, you get the big round arrow thing. So just kind of cut that out and print it out and stick it on the back of the wall right there. So that's how that's done. Let's see, we talked about the track, we talked about the locks there. So all of these locks, like I said, they're strategically placed. Two right here, and if you look right there, there's our two turnouts right there. So they kind of correspond to either a turnout, or sometimes they do dual duty. Sometimes there'll be a turnout like the one right over there, and they might also be a derailer to someplace on a different track right there. But at least there's a lock right there, so that when we're playing and simulating, we can use that little lock to kind of go through the motions of taking it easy and sort of, you know, playing around with how the actual real train does things. Let's see what else. So, people ask, how high is the background right here? I think it's 14 inches from the very top to the bottom right there. I think it's 14 inches. I have a little sort of little fascia right here of 2 inches. That's just you know, your regular board that you use for you know, your fascia right there. And you can see that this here is it's a, what is this, like a 6x1 or whatever, so it's like 5.5 inches, I guess, whatever the real size is right there. And then the actual backboard right there just kind of sits right about in the center right there. And you can see I have a few little spots right there that I had to kind of hold it, so I put little blocks of wood right there that are screwed into the top. And as you can see, I use LED strips right there all through the background there. Usually 2 of them. Let me grab a skewer there. So usually I use 2 or more lights. One of them is sort of shining down, so it's illuminating everything down here, and then another one is on the very back of this, pointing directly to the backboard, and that's what lights up the backboard there. I see a lot of model railroads where they don't really do that, and man, every time I see it, I go, man, if they did that, if they just illuminated the background, it would look 1,000,000 times better, you know, than it already does, kind of thing. So right here, I've got a couple extra strips in my camera. It's a little bit brighter here. And so the camera just kind of auto adjusts here and darkens things up a little bit too much. But that's pretty much my little philosophy. You can see the shelf is kind of all around here. Here's a little bit, because I'm not doing 2 sides. I just had to do the one here. So it's, what is it? Whatever, you can see the size right there. So yeah, I did that all around to make it have sort of a letterbox appearance, right? Because again, I know Lance has talked about this in his books there, you know, we're kind of putting on a show. It's sort of like a play when we run our train out here. We, you know, we have all the little actors and stuff like that, and I have my little characters right here, and the engineers and the conductors and stuff like that. And we do a little play right here, and so just like when you go to a play at a theater, you know, you have black sort of letterboxing, black curtains in the foreground, you know, down at the bottom and everything else. So I can kind of zoom in right here with my camera, and that's all you see. You don't see anything else. Nothing else is distracting. You just see the stage here that we run our little play on. So that's why I kind of chose that sort of design philosophy there. Let's see here. As far as what I'm running to, you know, run the outfit over here, I'm using the ESU cab controller right there. There's the whole box right there. I picked that just for sort of simplicity. Really, you know, it's an all-in-one. So it's basically just a wireless router with track power, and it has a wireless controller, which we can pop back over here. and take a look at. Now, I've talked about this thing before. I kind of like it because it has buttons on the side that are programmable, and so I can run everything holding the camera. Let me come around this way so you can see this a little bit better. But I can hold the camera in one hand and you know, control the train here with my thumb, and the button pushes right here. So with one hand I can run the entire locomotive with one hand while I'm filming it. And usually I have this thing kind of tucked to, you know, I put my hand down on my side or behind my back, so I'm not actually looking at it unless I have to look at the screen to do something right there. So I kind of like it. It's a little delicate though. You got to be careful you don't drop it, right? Because it kind of acts like it's like a cell phone. Don't drop it, you know. Let's see. I think that pretty much covers everything I can think of at the moment that people ask. I'm sure there's a lot of other questions right there. Oh yeah, locomotives. All my locomotives that are on the layout right now are athearn, and they're either athearn Genesis for the most part. There's a couple, I think, well actually there's only one. I think the SD40 is an athearn RTR, ready to run or ready to roll, whatever it's called there. But otherwise, yeah, all athearn Genesis units with the soundtracks, decoders, you know, already installed. I just buy the whole bit. I don't want to screw around with decoders and stuff like that because it's just not my thing. So I just buy them all ready to go with sound and everything else. So yep, that's how that works. All right, guys, I think this video is getting long enough, and hopefully at least that gives you a big sort of grand view of my layout over here in my garage, having fun. All right, guys, that's it for now. There's the Friday video. It's a big update over here. And if you do have any additional questions, post them in the description right there, and I'll answer them, you know, on the reply there for you. Because I usually forget something, you know, because I really should kind of keep a list of all the questions that people, you know, ask, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, like I said, post your questions if I didn't cover something, and I'll answer it for you. Anyway, guys, hope you had a good Friday here, and hope you have a good weekend. Have some fun playing with trains, and I'm sure I will be too here. I'll be doing it in the morning because it's going to be hot here in Southern California, which is kind of why I haven't done too many videos this week, because it's been getting hot and hot. All right, guys, till next time, take care. Have fun.